What is up, Snarf Gang? Today I will be reviewing Hauntress by Minataro Mochizuki. This story is apparently one of the first, I think it's the first stalker manga, like, ever. At least that's what it said on the back of this. So I don't know if it's straight up rap capping or what, but it's basically about this guy who, at the very beginning of the book, he sees this super huge lady pounding on his neighbor's door, like screaming for him to come out. So he's just like, what the fuck's going on? So like he takes a peek and like ever since then it's over, bro. Like basically after that, she wants to come inside and use his phone to see if she can call him. And when someone pulls up on you like this, it only makes sense to make the smart decision and let them in to use your phone, of course. By the way, this lady is like, well, okay, it's kind of hard to tell because they're Japanese and they're shorter, but she looks at least like 6'2". If I'm thinking like what the average height in Japan is in comparison from her to the main character, because the main character's a dude, so she's pretty big. Anyway, whenever she goes inside to try to call him over and over and over again, she stays there for like hours doing it. He doesn't pick up, obviously, because this lady's freaking crazy. He clearly doesn't want to be around her. And then he leaves to go to school the next day, and she calls him all frantic because she left their bag in his apartment. And she's like screaming at him, won't leave him alone. And bro, this is the most boneheaded move ever, bro. He tells her where his spare key is so she can go in and grab it. And then she makes a copy of it. I'm not trying to spoil everything, but it gets pretty freaky. And one thing I will say though that is minor spoilers is at one point, okay, skip past this if you don't want to know, but at one point she does turn into the slit-mouthed woman, which I thought was like weird because it made the story seem less focused, because they don't really like, the slit-mouthed woman has different lore set apart from this. So it felt like it was just randomly thrown in at the end because that specific creature or mythical whatever folklore has a certain way it goes about like greeting you. It's like this woman that usually, I think she has like a mask on or something, but she'll ask like if she's pretty, and when she takes it off, she has like the slit mouth, like she looks like the Joker, like, why I got these scars. And basically, if you tell her that she's hot, she thinks that you're lying, and then she tries to kill you. And if you tell her that she's ugly, she gets pissed, and then she tries to kill you. And the only way to get out of it is to just say that she looks like average or like meh, apparently. And that none of that ever appeared throughout the entire thing. That just randomly she turned into it near the end of the book. So I don't know what that was all about. I felt like it was random. That's all I'm gonna say. Now, in terms of writing, I wouldn't say the story is like amazing. It's pretty average, but in terms of scare factor, because this is a horror, I would say that the creepy moments are pretty good, and the ending is especially creepy. One thing I will say I didn't like about it, though, is I didn't think the ending was quite graphic enough. I think that after the creepiest climax, we should have seen maybe a little bit of what happened after. Once you read that part, you'll probably understand what I mean, but it's not that bad that we got it skipped by. I get that not everyone likes graphic stuff inside of their horror. Some people like it a little more like story-based, like tame. They don't need to see all that. I get it. And because of that, for story, I will give this 6.5 out of 10, because the story was just okay, but I feel like the main character was making so many stupid decisions that no realistic person would make. I mean, there's some pretty stupid people out there, so I bet somebody would probably do this, but it's just kind of infuriating to have a main character that's just like, just being an absolute buffoon. You know what I mean? Especially, I would get it if it was just a regular looking lady, but it's the fact that it's this massive, creepy looking lady and she was acting so strangely beforehand. Like, the fact that you would give that specific person the location of your spare key is just insane to me. But, whatever. Anyway, for art, I'll give the art a 7 out of 10. Art's not super detailed, but it's pretty creepy, and it does what it's set out to do. Even the scenes that aren't meant to be creepy have somewhat of a unnerving vibe to them. Let me see if I can show you. The main thing I was referring to when I said that is the way that this manga artist draws smiles. Like, this is just a regular scene of a dude smiling. Like, look how creepy that is. Look at the very next page. Like, okay, that smile's not as creepy, but something definitely looks off about it, right? Like, am I tweaking? I feel like that alone, like, sets a slightly more unnerving vibe because it just gives a feeling that something is off throughout the entire manga, which, like I said, in terms of setting a creepy vibe, this manga does a good job. But do I think it's the best or like top tier in terms of horror manga? No, it seems like it was a product of its time, sort of a period piece because it does seem primitive compared to modern horror. Not to say that it's bad. In fact, I think that the fact that this is the first ever manga about like a stalker and horror, this is done surprisingly well considering it was a pioneer. But yeah, that's my rating. Peace out, Snarf Gang.